The Sephora Holiday Savings Event is one of the biggest beauty events of the year. But let's be honest, it's also kind of overwhelming. And with every influencer pushing their must-haves, it's easy to waste money on hyped-up products that you're not even sure you like. I test hundreds of high-end beauty products on this channel every single year, and in this video, I'm cutting through the noise to share the top-shelf Sephora RECs that actually perform. These are the products that I buy again and again at full price. So the fact that they're on sale, even better. If you're looking for smart and luxurious beauty recommendations that work for real women at any age, this is your cheat sheet. Let's get into it. Whew, okay, I'm so excited. Let's kick things off with my favorite makeup category, which is complexion. My favorite foundations at Sephora. And the first one here really surprised me. I can't believe it's on this list, guys. It is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Filter Foundation. This has recently been reformulated, and guys, it's so good. It is so good. The old version used to be like thick and cakey and drying. And if you are new here, I have dry skin. I don't like cakey and drying, but this has got to be one of the best full coverage soft matte foundations that I have ever tried. I actually received it in PR. It like totally wasn't on my radar at all. And I was using it so much and I liked it so much, I actually repurchased it in a slightly better shade for my skin tone. I love the perfected look that this foundation gives my skin. I'm actually wearing it on my face right now. Don't get me wrong, it is a matte foundation, but this is not the matte foundations that we had in like 2015, 2016. This is like a soft matte. You can definitely sheer it out, just use a little bit, or you can go super full coverage. And let me tell you, it doesn't get cakey, it doesn't get drying. It literally, just like the name suggests, it makes you look completely airbrush. And a lot of you guys know I have, rosacea and redness, I have breakouts, and this just does a really great job of covering all of that. So if you're looking for something that is like a little bit more full coverage or a little bit more mattifying, but you don't want to look like a crusty crab at the end of the day, I would highly recommend checking this out. I used to recommend the Prada foundation in this kind of like matte foundation full coverage category. And while I still really love that one, I feel like the Charlotte Tilbury one is just as good, and it's also more affordable. This foundation is totally luxe worthy to me and definitely feels like something way more expensive than it is. Now, for my friends out there who are looking for something a little bit more medium coverage and maybe gives more of like a hydrated look, I would highly recommend the Dior Forever Foundation Stick. This is my favorite foundation from Dior. There's several that I like, but this is the one that I feel like is best for every day. This is number one, extremely hydrating, but also very blurring. You don't have to use too much. And I feel like as we get older, less is more. So I'm always looking for products where I don't have to use too much to get the required effect. I felt that way about the Charlotte Tilbury. I get full coverage with just a little bit. And I also feel the same about this Dior foundation stick. It's super easy to just kind of like swipe on and then buff into the skin for an incredibly blurred, seamless glow and coverage to the skin. As I mentioned, this is going to be more medium coverage, but you can totally sheer it out. I would highly recommend this one more so for like normal to dry skin tones. I think if you're oily or combo, this is probably going to be a little bit too juicy for your skin, but for my dry skin friends out there, I think this is going to be a new favorite for you. And then in the lighter coverage category, I recommend the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Serum Skin Tint. I think I've recommended this in like the past 4 or 5 Sephora recommendations videos, like literally when this launched, I've been recommending it ever since. This is one of my favorite skin tints of all time. Yes, it's not like Dior or like a fancy brand, it's Danessa Myricks, but she makes some fantastic products, and this skin tint is definitely one of her best. I think that this works really nicely on dry skin and mature skin. It is very hydrating and it gives that kind of real skin look. It's definitely a skin tint, but I like that I can kind of build this up to medium coverage and it doesn't feel slimy on the skin. A lot of times with some of the other skin tints at Sephora, it says it's like serum-y and packed with skin skincare and all that kind of stuff, but the resulting texture ends up being like really slippy and slimy. It like never sets down. I don't like super oily and emollient skin tints. I want something that's hydrating, but I don't want like my hair sticking to my face, if that makes sense. And I never get that with the Yummy Skin Tint. It comes in a squeezy tube, so it's really nice for travel if you need to just kind of like pack up or do your makeup on the go. So this is what I would recommend for more of that lighter coverage category. And while I don't think you necessarily need a primer for any of these foundations, because I think that they perform beautifully on their own. Like if you're gonna invest in a really good foundation, I don't think you necessarily need a primer, but I do sometimes like to prep my skin with certain types of products. And the two that are my favorite at Sephora are number one, the Dior Forever Glow Star Filter. I've talked about this so many times on my channel. I love this product. There are so many of those like glowy drops, glowy serums at Sephora and even at other retailers and other brands. Like literally every brand has their own version of this product, but I really think the one from Dior is the best. I think it is so worth it. You can see it, you can notice it, but it doesn't look unnatural. You're not gonna look like weird and sparkly like Edward Cullen or like the Tin Man or anything like that. A lot of these glowy serums, they kind of blend into the skin and then it's like, I don't even see the glow. With this, you get tons of hydration to prep your skin for what might be like a matte foundation, like the Charlotte Tilbury, for example, but then you also get that pigmentation. So you can kind of wear it on its own if you want to. You can mix it into your foundation for a little bit of extra glow, hydration, if you want to sheer out your foundation, or you can wear it as a primer, which is what I really like to do. It's a really, really good product and it comes in 10 shades. So unlike a lot of other brands, you can really pick which one is gonna be best for your skin tone. And then the second primer that I'm going to recommend is not really a primer, it's more skin prep or skincare, but I love it so much, I really want to include it in this video. This is the Violette France Boom Boom Milk. This is like a subscriber favorite on my channel. So many of you guys have purchased this. This is basically a spray-on moisturizer with a lot of really wonderful calming abilities. If you have redness, if you have eczema, if you have like dermatitis or anything like that, if you have very sensitive skin, I would definitely recommend checking this out. You can, and I have used this as my daily moisturizer. It's really easy to just kind of mist it on the face. And I promise you, I have really dry skin. This very lightweight, watery mist, it is enough to retain the moisture on my skin. It actually feels super creamy when it goes on the face. So I use it as a daily moisturizer, but I also use it to kind of like refresh my makeup as a primer before I go in like with my foundation, just to add a little bit of like extra juice to my skin. And I also use it when I get eczema flare up. I've heard from a lot of my subscribers that you sprayed this baby on and your eczema or your like itchy rash or whatever went away. It has a lot of calming ingredients for that. It is such a good product, like I can't speak more highly of it. I'm not gonna be covering any other skincare favorites in this video. This video is really gonna focus just on my makeup favorites, but don't worry, if you are interested in my skincare, hair care, body care, or fall fragrance favorites, I did create a lookbook that is free to download via the link in my description box or using the QR code on the screen right now. I share all of my favorites and why. So if you are interested in hearing a little bit more about my recommendations in those categories, definitely check out that free lookbook. Moving along to concealer and powder. Now, the concealer that I have by far gone through the most tubes of, and which I will be purchasing another new tube of in this sale this time around, is the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Concealer. Why do I like this concealer so much? Well, to start off, it's really great if you have dry skin, if you have dry under eyes and eyelids like myself. It's very creamy, very hydrating, looks great at the end of a long work day. But also, the secret sauce of this concealer is just how incredibly brightening it is. It does have a lot of mica in the formulation, which kind of reflects the light and gives this illusion of a brighter under eye, which if you have hereditary dark circles and you don't really get that much sleep like me, you need this. You need this in your life. I've gone through, like I said, so many tubes. It does such a great job of brightening that under eye area. I wouldn't really recommend this if you're like covering up a pimple or something. Like you don't want your pimple to be sparkly, if you know what I mean. But on the under eyes, this literally works magic. One of my favorite concealers ever. Now, if you want something that is not quite as glowy, that would be more appropriate for like all over the face, this is where I like to recommend the Dior Forever Concealer. I've been using this one for years, ever since it came out. It is glowy and brightening and just as moisturizing as the Charlotte Tilbury, but it's not quite as light reflecting. It looks great under the eyes, but you can kind of put it all over the face. You can even use it almost like a foundation, just kind of putting it where you need it. If you don't wear a lot of makeup or you don't wear a lot of base products on your face, this would probably be that perfect like Goldilocks concealer that I would recommend to you. If you just kind of need something to like cover up things here and there, it's a really, really great concealer. Looks beautiful on mature skin as well. And then the third concealer that I use the most at Sephora is none other than the NARS Creamy Concealer. This product is still good, guys. It's still good. It's popular. It's a bestseller for a reason. It's creamy, so creamy like the name would suggest. I really like it. This is what I'm wearing on my under eyes right now. I have it in the shade Nougatine, and it's just a good staple in my makeup drawer. It gives me great coverage, looks hydrating, looks very smooth, lasts really long, is great for covering up redness and blemishes and all that kind of stuff. This one is definitely the least glowy out of all of the three, but not in a bad way. It's like your perfect standard hydrating concealer that isn't too like slippy and serumy. Now for powders, it will come to no one's surprise if you watch my channel that I am in love with the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Finishing Powders. I use these all the time in my regular makeup routine. I love to use them not only for like setting my makeup or setting my foundation, but I love these for finishing my makeup and blending out around my eyeshadow, maybe blending out some blush, just really making the makeup look more diffused, perfected, and professional. If you've ever used these before, then you will know they do a beautiful job of blurring the skin, blurring any, I hate to say imperfections, but like visible pores. It really looks like you have a filter over your skin, and they never ever dry out my skin or get cakey. And that's really saying something because there's really not that many powders that I can say that about. In fact, there really are no other powders at Sephora that I really like. I tend to go more high-end when it comes to setting powders, loose powders. My favorites are like the Sisley, the Clé de Peau, the La Prairie. So for my personal experience, I would go a little bit more high-end, and I'll link a video down below where I talk more about some of those powders that you might want to check out for your skin type. Now, the Hourglass holiday palettes, the ambient lighting edit palettes that come out every single year, I would also recommend those as well. However, and I always say this because I don't want to push these palettes if they're not going to work for you. You really need to watch reviews, and you need to take a look at each of the shades and make sure that all of the shades work for you, because it's really not a good value product amount wise that you get in those palettes. I love them. I use them. My favorites this year are the Deer palette and the Swan palette. But like if the bronzer doesn't work for your skin tone or the blushes are not really shades that you reach for, don't fall for the hype, guys. I'm not going to tell you to go out and buy these. I'll link down below to a video where I do like my little mini reviews on the Swan and the Deer. The Deer palette in particular this year, I think is very special and the best one that I've seen for fair skin or like very fair skin tones. So if you're very fair, if you like very subtle makeup, I would highly check out that review of that palette and see if it's gonna work well for you. I love them. I take them with me every single time that I travel, but not every palette is gonna work for every single person. So definitely watch reviews. And by the way, if you are new here, hi, my name is Sophia and my channel is all about accessible luxury, beauty, and style. Me and my community, we love high-end beauty and products that make us feel luxurious without wasting thousands of dollars. I try all of the latest products so that you don't have to and deliver the truth on what is really luxe-worthy. If you like this video, if you find it helpful and entertaining, please consider giving me a big thumbs up or subscribing to my channel if you want to see more from me. And if you really want to support my brutally honest makeup reviews and non-AI beauty content, the best way to do that is by shopping through my links. I'm going to be linking all of the products that I mentioned in this video, the shades, the makeup that is on my face, everything. There are 3 ways to shop with me. The first one is by looking in the description box. That is where I post all of the links, the shopping guide, read everything. If you can't find a shade or something that I mentioned in this video, it will be in the description box, and you can find that by tapping on the title of the video. You also will see all of the products linked in a pinned comment. So if you go to the comment section, everything is going to be listed there. Sometimes I run out of room, so I do try my best, guys. And then the third way is by clicking on any of the shopping buttons that you see on the screen. That's going to take you to a YouTube shopping list. So if you're watching from your TV, that's usually the best way to go. And honestly, thank you so much to those of you who support my channel through shopping through my links. It really means a lot. Let's talk about bronzers. This is definitely one of the most popular categories on my channel. I feel like finding a good bronzer that is perfect for your skin tone is harder than it sounds. It's harder than it sounds, but I have some really good ones here that I feel like work for many of my subscribers and that are not too warm. I don't want you walking around like an Oompa Loompa. Even if you have a warm undertone, we want to keep it natural. We want to be glowing goddesses with our bronzers. And the first one that I want to mention, which I feel like is so underrated, I don't really hear that many people talking about it. It's the bronzer that I have on my face today. This is the Makeup by Mario bronzer. You can see right here, the one that I have is very well loved. And what I like about this is that this does a really nice job of setting my makeup. I almost don't really have to use any kind of powder, but it's not completely flat and matte. There's still a little bit of luminosity to the formula where I don't look super dry and cakey. It's incredibly finely milled, it's talc-free, and I absolutely love the lightest shade. It is very subtle, it's very subtle, but if you have fair skin, then you know how much of a challenge it can be to find a bronzer that is like not too overpowering. And this one from Mario, I feel like it is so good. It has a little bit of like a little bit of a peachy undertone to it. So it does provide warmth to the skin, but not in an orangey, over the top kind of way. I only have this shade, so I can't speak for the other shades, but he does have deeper shades in the spectrum as well. So I kind of feel like there's something for everybody. I think if you're looking for something that has a little bit more setting power to it, that doesn't look dry and cakey, this is a great one to check out. So where the Mario bronzer I think is best if you want a little more setting power, on the other side of the spectrum, if you want a bronzer that is kind of like hydrating to the skin, that has a buttery feel to it, that is good for maybe dry skin or more mature skin, then I would recommend the Gucci bronzer. I mean, you knew this bronzer was gonna be in this video. We love this bronzer. I love the smooth and silky, yet slightly buttery feel of the Gucci bronzer. The packaging is gorgeous. It is a high price point, but I really do think this is like top shelf for me. I cannot live without this bronzer. And the shade Fair is kind of like, I mean, if you don't know, it's kind of like famous, sort of well known in the luxury beauty community, because this is one of the few bronzer ranges that has a fair tone that's kind of pinky. It has like a pinky undertone. So if you're somebody that doesn't tan, if you're very fair, if you don't get golden like ever, you just get kind of pink, this is gonna sort of mimic that slightly flush look that your skin gets when it's like, you know, when you get a little bit more sun exposure. It is very flattering for people who have like a cooler undertone to their skin. It's an absolutely beautiful bronzer, and once again, they do have deeper shades, which I like, but I just like to call out the Fair shade because that truly is special and kind of a differentiator amongst other brands at Sephora. And the last bronzer that I wanna recommend is the Tom Ford Terra bronzer. I know, I recommend these all the time, guys, because they are good. I don't like to switch it up. I like to stick with what I know is the best of the best. And the Tom Ford Terra bronzer, ooh, this one is a bit glowier than, well, it's definitely glowier than the Mario, and it's glowier than the Gucci one. So I like that about it. It adds a bit more of like an airbrush finish, but also the shade Terra, this is gonna be the bronzer that you choose if you truly want something quite neutral. This is something that I think you could use as like a bronzer. It's not cool tone. I keep getting people asking me for cool tone bronzers. That is a contour. A contour adds shadow and depth to the skin, whereas a bronzer adds warmth and glow and toastiness to the skin. And for you, that might be a pinky tone, it might be a peachier tone, or more a golden tone. The Terra bronzer, I think, does a good job of adding that bronzy glow, but it is more neutral. So I have a lot of subscribers out there that love this if they're more like neutral to cool tone, because they feel like this is just, it's not overdone. It's not too warm on their skin. The worst thing about it is that there aren't more shades. It really is a travesty. Tom Ford. Like, if you want to be relevant again, Tom Ford, maybe add some more bronzer shades, because if they came out with like a lighter version and a deeper version of this, I feel like that would fly off the shelves. Oh, I lied. I do have one more bronzer recommendation to share with you, and this is in the liquid cream category. It is the Westman Atelier Sun Tone Bronzing Drops. These are so beautiful and natural. If you don't like powder products, if you truly want something that looks natural and skin-like, highly recommend checking out this product from Westman Atelier. A lot of times with these like bronzy drop products, especially from Westman Atelier, because some of their other products are like this, they're way too like greasy and emollient and they don't set down. These are not like that. They are described as matte, and I think that's really confusing for the customer. What they mean by that is that there's no shimmer in these. It is like a flat color, so it goes onto the skin. It adds this like really natural bronze to the face, or just like a slight little kiss of color, but it's not shimmery. So if you've been looking for something that isn't shimmery or glowy, this would be a really good option. They're still incredibly hydrating. Like, the formula's hydrating, but the finish isn't glowy, if that makes sense. Yeah, these are just so good. Like, they've sold out over and over again. So if you can get them on sale, if your shade is available, I would definitely check them out. And by the way, if you just cannot get enough of bronzer recommendations, I have so many bronzer videos here on my channel. I have best bronzers for fair skin, best luxury bronzers. So I'll link those videos down below if you want to see more recommendations and swatch comparisons. All right, blushes. Let's kick things off with the biggest comeback of the year, the Dior Backstage blushes. They reformulated these not once, but 2 times. If you're not familiar, okay, like the original ones, they were really great. They went viral. They reformulated them. They sucked. And then they came out with the new ones this year. And you'll know that they're the new ones because they have a little square shape. Guys, they fixed them. They fixed them and I love them. The colors are beautiful. We have pigment again with these blushes. So good job, Dior. You fixed your mistake. These do give a little bit of like a rosy glow, as the name would suggest. They have that like pH adjusting pigment. So whatever color you get, just know it will be like slightly pinker than, you know, what you see in the pan. But regardless, I still think they're really beautiful. They do have, it's not really like a shimmer. It's more like a sheen. So you also get kind of like an airbrush type of glow from them as well. Really, really beautiful. The ones that I wear the most are like Surprise, Surprise, Candy, and Toffee, the more neutral ones. But I got the cherry one as well, and that one is also really pretty. So just go with the shade that you think you're gonna wear the most. Now, the other 2 powder blushes that I recommend are a little bit more affordable, but I feel like these perform like luxury brands. So I'm gonna recommend them in this video anyway. I always like to let you guys know if I can find something that kind of feels like Dior or Chanel or something super expensive, but it's at like a more reasonable price point, I'm gonna let you know. And the Kosas Blushes Life Baked Blushes, I feel like these perform like luxury blushes. They look very similar to the Hourglass blushes, which don't get me wrong, I still really like them, but the Kosas ones look very, very similar. There's more shades to choose from. My favorite one is called Dreamland, which again, surprise, surprise, is like the neutral one. If you watch my recent video on the world's most expensive makeup, then you will know this one looks really similar to the $140 Sisley blush that I splurged on. Literally looks the same, swatched and on my cheeks. Now, maybe it's not quite as bougie as the Sisley one. You get a very similar glowy effect. They look very airbrushed on the cheeks, not sparkly or glittery or like shimmery. It's just like a beautiful airbrush glow. I love all the shades. I have like almost every single shade. And they also have a really cute gift set out this year that I also bought this year and last year that has cute little minis, and there are new like limited edition shades in the gift set. So that'd be one of my top picks picks. I'm not gonna be talking about gift sets really in this video, but that would be one of my top picks in terms of gift sets at Sephora. I also really like the new Ilia blushes. Now, these don't have like the most luxurious packaging, but the blushes themselves, oh my gosh, they are so beautiful. They are this like gorgeous baked formula. The formula of these feels way more luxurious than they are priced. If you're like eyeing the Dior ones, but maybe the colors are like a bit too bright or you're not into the pH adjusting formula, I would recommend taking a look at the Ilia blushes because take a look at this color range. It's like this beautiful, boring array of gorgeous neutrals. These are really pretty and I feel like not a lot of people have been talking about them, so I wanted to include them in this video. Now for cream blush, you guys know, there can only be one. The Westman Atelier Baby Cheeks Cream Blush Sticks. Ooh, Westman Atelier, they are so pricey. But gosh, I do really like these blushes. They're so beautifully creamy. The shades are incredibly chic and sophisticated. I feel like these work so well on all skin types, no matter your age. And this is one of the products that I feel like whenever I do these recommendation videos, I get the most comments about. Like if I don't mention it, people make a point to go to the comments and be like,
what about the Baby Cheeks blushes? What about those?
Those are the best. Why are they not in this video?
People always get mad if I don't include it. And then when I do include it, they're like, yes, they are the best. Like so many of my subscribers love these blushes. So it's not only me. They're just good. Like they blend like a dream. They're pigmented, but not too pigmented. They look really natural. This is like a really nice little luxury treat. I would definitely pick these up when they're on sale though. A blush trend that I'm seeing across the beauty industry that I'm really liking right now are the cream to powder blushes. These are, I mean, as the name would suggest, like it's not quite a cream, it's not quite a powder, and they have kind of like a squishy type of texture. A lot of brands have been releasing these, but I'm really excited about the ones from Glossier. This is the Glossier Cloud Paint Plush Blush. Hopefully I got that name correctly. I love the Cloud Paint blushes from Glossier. If you want a more affordable liquid or cream blush, I would definitely check those out. I've been using them like for years at this point, but they just came out with this formula. Oh my gosh, guys, these are so good. It's very similar to like the Chanel cream to powder blushes, except these are more pigmented. They're very similar as well to the Rare Beauty ones, I'm not going to lie, but I like the shades from Glossier better. And if you've ever used their cloud paints, if you have a favorite shade in that formula, then you can also now get it in this cream to powder formula. If you've never used these kinds of blushes before, they go on like very airy, kind of like a cloud. You get the very natural, almost hydrated look of a cream blush, but it's a bit easier to apply. It kind of goes on more like a powder, and they also last longer than a cream blush. If you haven't tried this kind of formula before, I would definitely check out these from Glossier. The price point of Glossier really isn't that high, but I feel like a lot of their products, they really feel like luxury, and this is kind of like a more affordable way to try out something new if you haven't tested it before. And if you're looking to add a little bit more glow to your look this holiday season, I do have two top shelf highlighters that I want to recommend. The first ones are the Dior Forever highlighters. Now, they recently reformulated these, I think it was earlier this year. I can't tell the difference between the formula, which I guess is good because these were some of my favorites before. They did change the packaging, so it looks very like new millennium kind of Y2K, but I think it looks really cute. These are pigmented, but they're not like chunky and glittery. I feel like they look really smooth on the skin, but they do still pop. If you want something that's like a pretty pigmented highlighter that pops on the skin that's still very smooth, I would check these out. They've been a favorite of mine for years. I have like every single shade. I even collect the limited edition ones from Dior. My favorite shade that they have at Sephora is called Pink Halo. I feel like it blends really beautifully into my skin tone. The shades that have the word halo are the ones that are like a very smooth finish. I would be careful of the ones that have the word strobe in them because those are going to be glittery. just so you know. So if you want something smooth, I would go for like the gold halo, the pink halo. And my second highlighter recommendation is none other than the Prada Beauty highlighters. These are top shelf. Like, these are insanely good, guys. These are for my friends out there who want something very subtle, a very smooth kind of glow that just really melts into the skin. If you want more of like a pop, I would go for the Dior, but the Prada Beauty highlighters are really where it's at if you want something that has kind of a creamier finish, because that's what these feel like. Like when you swatch them, they have a really smooth, creamy type of feel. So again, it really just melts into the skin in the most beautiful, non-textured way. If you have dry skin, if you are really concerned about like highlighting pores, especially when it comes to highlighter, I would check these out. In fact, I'm gonna buy another one because I made the mistake of buying like a refill of the deepest shade, which is what I have on my cheeks right now. Actually, I didn't think this shade was really going to work for me, but it's actually my favorite one, guys, because it adds like a beautiful kind of warmth to my skin. So I'm actually gonna buy this in the sale so that I can get the little like compact and everything. They're so, so good. I love these. And if you want some more recommendations on highlighters for a real skin finish, kind of like the Prada, I will link my highlighter video down below so you can hear about all of the ones that are on my top shelf. Next up, eyeshadows. I wanna kick things off with the eyeshadow that I'm wearing on my eyes today, which is one of the new Merit Solo Shadows. Now, they launched the Solo Shadows maybe like a year or two ago. They are these beautiful single eyeshadows that never crease. They're very good if you like minimal makeup, a really good one and done. Love them. I have pretty much all of the shades. Well, just in time for the Sephora sale, Merit has launched a new finish for the Solo Shadows, and this is called Sheen. So instead of them being like a matte finish, these have a really beautiful soft shimmer finish. And I really feel like they nailed these because they're not glittery. They're not even really metallic. I think that the word sheen is like the perfect way to describe these because it's a very, very subtle sheen. It's a very, very subtle sheen to the eye. They are pretty subtle on the eye. I don't want to say that they're not pigmented. They sheer out really nicely, but not in a patchy way. I feel like a lot of liquid shadows or cream shadows, if they are sheer, they look really weird and patchy, but I don't get that with these. It just creates this really gorgeous wash of color that is really natural, easy to do, quick one and done, lasts all day on the lid. And that's what I really like Merit Beauty for, that kind of like minimalist everyday makeup. The shades are beautiful. The one I have on my eyes right now is called Sartorial. This is like a cool toned brown that I think a lot of you are gonna like for every day. I don't know, I think it has a little bit of like a lavender undertone, which is very special. It's almost like a mushroomy kind of brown that I absolutely love. These are great. I think that these are gonna sell really, really well in the sale. If you like more minimal makeup, if you don't like big creative palettes and that kind of stuff, this is what I would recommend checking out. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, what would be a good recommendation for somebody who really likes to play around with eyeshadow? If you want something that is like makeup artist quality, if you really care about pigmentation, trying to create different looks, if you want to be a little bit more creative with your eyeshadow, I would highly recommend checking out the Hung Van Gogh eyeshadow palettes. They launched fairly recently. They are a new brand to Sephora. Hung Van Gogh is Selena Gomez's makeup artist, by the way. He does a bunch of celebrities, but I know Selena Gomez is like his big client. His work is so beautiful and his products are very high quality. I was speechless when I used these. They are so pigmented, easy to work with. The shimmers are like insanely beautiful. I had a lot of fun doing looks and playing around with these palettes. Now, they're not gonna be for everybody. They're gonna be for people who are like true eyeshadow lovers. And also he has some gorgeous color stories. If you want something more colorful, something a little bit different, this is what I would recommend. These palettes are sort of taking the place, I hate to say it, of like my Natasha Denona, Pat McGrath types of recommendations because I don't know, like I like the formula of these better. And I feel like so many of us have the Natasha Denona ones, and she isn't really being that creative anymore. Everything's like neutral, everything's like all matte palette or whatever, and it's just so boring, guys. And I find that this formula from Hung Van Gogh, it is much higher quality than like the Marios and the Patrick Tas, and just more creative and fun for the eyeshadow lover out there. So this is gonna be my rec in that category. Actually, I lied. I do have one more recommendation in this category, but this palette is very different. It is one of a kind. It is the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Freedom palette. The Freedom 7 palette, I believe. Gosh, I've lost count at this point. Guys, this has got to be like the best thing that Danessa Myricks has ever made. At least it is my favorite, other than the Yummy Skin Tint, but that's a very different like everyday category. This is so beautiful, so creative, so high quality. I already purchased this full price, and I didn't even purchase it to review it on my channel. I just purchased it because I wanted it, because I love eyeshadow. If you're not familiar with these palettes, you get a lot of like beautiful, smooth, creamy duochrome, sparkle, amazing, insane metallics and finishes. And she also put in a couple of mattes in the palette so that you can actually do like full eyeshadow looks. I know some people were mad about the mattes. I love the mattes, and the quality is top shelf. This is one of my favorite things. It might be my favorite thing in the sale this year. And if you're not familiar with how these palettes work, you can basically take it apart. It's basically 3 different palettes all in one, and then you get a little lid for the smaller palette, so you can kind of take one of them with you on the go. I took the olive color story with me to a trip to Los Angeles the other week, and like I wear these shades during the day. This is not like a fancy New Year's Eve palette for me. Like I'm wearing this palette in my everyday life. She really went with more of like a neutral color story this time so that people can kind of enjoy the finishes, but in a slightly more wearable way. I don't think this is gonna be for everybody. This is gonna be for those of us who really like these kinds of creative palettes, if you like shimmer, duochrome, and like fun makeup. But I do think that this is the most wearable one that she's launched to date, and I'm like totally obsessed with it. Now, if those 2 recommendations feel super overwhelming to you, if you're watching this and you're like, I'm literally never going to use those, Sophia, that's okay. I got you. I got you, because you know, I like my bougie, luxury, softer style of eyeshadows as well. And for that type of category and customer, I would first recommend the Dior Backstage eyeshadow palettes. I think that the main Dior palettes, they've just become a little bit too inconsistent for me to recommend. I think if you want something that's like very soft, I would go for the Dior Backstage ones. I think that the color stories, they're like very neutral, very everyday. My favorite one is the Smoky Essentials, the cool tone one. Beautiful palette, really easy shades to work with, but you get more shades for the money than you do with like the Quince from Dior. So I kind of like that about the Backstage palettes as well. The other palettes that I would recommend are the YSL Mini Couture Clutch palettes. I have almost every single one of these. They're so beautiful. They are quads, so you get 4 shades, and they also come in really wearable color stories. These also have a little bit of like a creamy feel to them. They're kind of like that cream to powder sort of vibe, which I think looks really pretty and smooth on the eyes. These would be a good option for those of you who want to add a little bit more sparkle. So like with the Dior, you don't really get that much sparkle. Like they're pretty subtle in a very beautiful way. With the YSL, you usually get a little bit more glimmer to add to the look. They have like these very finely milled ethereal topper shades. So if you don't like that, I wouldn't pick up the YSL, but I think they do it in a really nice, like mature and luxury way. I am gonna share with you 2 top shelf mascara recommendations. I feel like this is the part of the video where everybody like skips ahead because they don't care and they already have a mascara that they love. But listen up, guys, okay? These are my favorite mascaras, and these are also both really good for sensitive eyes and also hooded eyes if you have issues with like transfer and that kind of stuff. These are my top shelf. The first one is the Hourglass Instant Extensions Unlocked Mascara. This one is my favorite for everyday volume. It is basically like a tubing mascara. This one is my mom's favorite. She uses it like literally every day. I have it in the black, and they now have a brown shade, which I think is really great for a softer look. It adds lots of volume, which sometimes is kind of hard for these tubing mascaras, and it literally lasts all day. I've tried like literally every tubing mascara out there. This one lasts all day. I always get like transfer because my lashes are on the longer side to my upper brow bone. No transfer with this. No, 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 no. I used to teach Zumba classes in this mascara and it never flaked or transferred or anything. It's really gentle on the eyes if you wear like contact lenses or whatever. This is a great one to check out for volume. Then another product that really surprised me this year, this was sent to me in PR. I don't think I would have tried it otherwise, but I'm really glad I did. The Kosas Soul Gazer mascara. That's what I have on my lashes right now. That's what's giving me this like insane separation and length. Ooh, this one is so good. This is like a sleeper hit. This is the one that I would go for if you want more of that like long, fluttery separation and length. So the Hourglass, a little bit better for volume, Kosas, a little bit better for separation and length, but they both last really long, really gentle on the eyes. The Kosas as well, it is marketed as having like lash care ingredients. So if you are looking for something that has like those lash benefits, lash care types of ingredients, but you don't want to spend, what is it, like $80 for the Chantecaille or whatever, maybe check out this one from Kosas first. Oh, okay, are you still with me? Are you still with me? Because we've been sitting here for a hot minute, guys, and we are on the last category, but I had a hard time narrowing down the lip products, okay? So whatever, this is my video. I'm gonna share all of my top shelf favorites with you today, starting off with my favorite lipsticks. These are like standard lipsticks. They're gonna give like full color payoff, color opacity, and my first favorite is the Makeup by Mario Super Satin lipsticks. They are called Super Satin for a reason because these have this like incredible lasting power. When you swipe them on, they have that like beautiful satin look. You know, when you put on a satin lipstick and it looks really hydrating on the lips, kind of hides all the crustiness and maybe the lines in your lips, you get that. But a lot of satin lipsticks, they really don't wear all that well, at least in my experience. The Mario Super Satins are not like that. They have a little bit of a thicker texture that when you swipe it on, you get the full color payoff, and then it like really grips the lips. I can't explain it. It grips the lips and it just lasts. So if you're looking for something, I mean, the nudes are beautiful. It's Mario, so he's gonna have some beautiful nudes. But if you want kind of a deeper color, but you want that kind of satin look, this would be a really great kind of longer wear red lip or berry lip for the holiday time. Ugh, these are so good. In fact, these are the best selling product in the last Sephora sale in the spring on my channel. So you guys absolutely love these. So I'm glad we're feeling the same way. But I will admit, friends, there is a new bombshell that has entered the villa, and that is the Hung Van Gogh Beauty lipsticks. These are also so insanely gorgeous. They are more of a matte finish compared to the Makeup by Mario ones, but I feel like it's a little, I don't know, I feel like it's a little confusing to call these a matte lipstick because they are very, very creamy and hydrating. So if you're looking for something that gives that kind of like beautiful, soft matte look of a matte lipstick, but you're worried about dryness, check out the ones from Hung Van Gogh. He has some absolutely stunning colors. I already have a lot of the Mario ones, so for this sale, probably gonna pick up a couple from Hung Van Gogh. Van Gogh Red, that red, oh my God, it's so insanely pretty, guys. He has the nudes and everything, but like that color is my absolute favorite. I love the sexy red packaging, my favorite color. So those are also really, really good. Now for something a little bit more subtle, more minimalist, maybe, you know, you don't need like a lip liner for something not too precious, I would recommend the lipsticks from Merit. I love these. I have like almost every single shade. They have a satin formula and a matte formula, and they're both really good. These are not gonna be as intensely pigmented as the other two lipsticks that I just mentioned. This is like your everyday, keep it in your purse, pull it out, swipe it on your lips for, some beautiful everyday color type of lipstick. The satin ones are definitely more sheer. They feel more like a lip balm, but they have, more pigment than a chapstick, obviously. And then the matte ones, they're gonna be slightly more pigmented, if that is helpful. I think for the fall, the shade 1990, it's like a beautiful 90s brown, would be a great pick. In the matte formula, they have a shade called Maison, and it is a gorgeous, soft, dusty mauve. I think that would be a really good everyday fall shade as well. And speaking of Merit Beauty, I also highly recommend their lip oils. They call them the Shade Slicks. I really like the ones that have the sheen finish because they have a little bit of shimmer to them, which you don't often see with lip oils. A lot of times you get these like bright poppy colors. They all look the same on the lips, whereas with the Merit ones, I just really like those chic and sophisticated shades with a little bit of sheen. This is what I'm wearing on my lips today, actually, and I've pretty much been wearing these in almost all of my videos for the past 2 months because they just look so flattering on the lips and also on camera. This is the shade Twin Set. This is the one that I definitely wear the most. It's a gorgeous mauve, but what I like about this is that it has a little bit of like a neutral brownie undertone that is really great and pairs well with any type of eye look. They're super moisturizing. I just love these. These are some of my most used lip products in my entire collection. And in addition to the Shade Slicks, I also really like their lip liners. I'm wearing the shade Bespoke on my lips today, which is kind of like a soft brownie tone, a brownie rose. These lip liners, they're not really intended to be like super pigmented and super long lasting. They have a balmy texture to them. So they're really hydrating on the lips. If you have very dry lips and you just want to add a little bit of that like contoured look to your lip oil lip, that's what that's going to be good for. It's following that trend of like the soft contour, if that makes sense. If you want a lip liner that is like super locked and loaded, that goes on incredibly smooth, never drags and lasts all day, then you gotta go with the Tom Ford Runway lip liners. They are expensive, but they're so, so good. Yes, I do think that they're better than the Charlotte Tilbury. I use my Charlotte Tilbury all the time. I still really like them. But if I had to tell you like what is truly top shelf, the Tom Ford are where it's at. I refuse to pay full price for them. I told you when I first reviewed these, I was like, are these worth $50 or whatever they are? And I was like, no, I'm not willing to pay $50 for a lip liner, but if it's on sale, then I will. So I have a couple of the shades. My favorite one is this one called Irresistible. It's kind of like a toasty nude. I would say RECS is the best if you just want like that super light standard pillow talk type of color. These are really good. And yeah, I really only buy them when they go on sale because I don't want to spend $50 on a lip liner. But going back to the lip products, if you are a luxury beauty lover like me, I would highly recommend trying out one of the Guerlain lip oils. If we're talking formula, the Guerlain are like unmatched, guys. In my opinion, Merit has the best shades. Guerlain has the most succulent formula. Like you buy these lip oils for the formula because it is like thicker than a lot of the other slippy lip oils that are sold at Sephora and from other brands. They're formulated with honey, and so you get that kind of like rich, glazed type of look to the lips, but also feeling on the lips. I love to carry these around in my handbag and just use them as like a lip balm because they look really nice, but they're also intensely hydrating. So this is a really great thing for like the winter season, it gets drier, our lips get chapped and crusty. This is what I like to use as a lip balm, and they're kind of expensive, so better to get them on sale. I don't think you need more than one shade because the colors are pretty sheer. They all look kind of similar on the lips. It's not like the Merit, and these do have a little bit of that pH adjusting pigment in them. I don't think you need like a bunch of shades. My favorite lip gloss at Sephora, pretty much my favorite lip glosses, period, are the Dior Addict Lip maximizers. Now, these are a plumping formula. I'll warn you, if you don't like plumping, I'm not gonna tell you to buy this because it's not going to be for you. But I love how glossy these are. I like that they're not too slippy, so they have a lot of longevity to them. And in particular, the sparkly shades, oh my gosh, these make the lips look so succulent and plump from like a finish kind of perspective, because when the light hits those glittery formulas, oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. I love the shimmer hazelnut. That's one of my favorites, but they just launched the most beautiful shade, guys. It's called Sunlit Amber. Ooh, I saw this in store when I was traveling and I was like, hold on one second. I need that shade. It is a beautiful shimmering autumn red, but because it's a gloss, it's not gonna look like, you know, a full-on red lip, but it gives that beautiful sparkling red tint to the lips. Oh, it's just so good. And it looks very different from some of the other shades. So that would be my top pick that's new for this season. A really popular lip formula over the past 2 years or so have been the tinted lip balms. Some are more tinted than others, some are more glossy than others, but let's be real, guys. These are the ones that we wear on the daily. These are the ones that we like toss into our purse. Very low maintenance, kind of like the Merit lipsticks, but not quite as much pigment. There are so many on the market, like literally every brand has their own, but I wanna share with you in this video the ones that I have found myself wearing the most. The first formula, which I believe that these are new, and these were very surprising to me. They weren't really on my radar, but I tried them and oh my gosh, the Valentino Beauty Spike Disco Lips, I believe they're called. These are so beautiful. These are so pretty, guys. They're not particularly glossy. They're more like a tinted balm, and they're called disco lips for a reason. When you hear disco lips, you might think like, oh, it's gonna be like super sparkly and glittery. No, actually, it's a very subtle shimmer. It's a very refined style of shimmer, and the light reflecting particles that are in this formula, when you hold it up to the light, you can see they're all different types of colors. You get a little bit of like violet in there or gold in there. So when you swipe this on the lips, it really creates the illusion of plumper lips. I just love the way that they look. They're not like super glossy or glittery or anything. It's like this gorgeous, understated reflectivity. They don't look metallic. I really like these. The brown shade in particular, that's the one that I'm always wearing. It looks so good too with a lip liner. I really like the look of these. I didn't think that they were gonna be anything different than what I had tried from other brands, but I actually think that they're really nice, so they made it into this video. My other favorites are the ones from YSL, the Love Shine lipsticks. There's the regular Love Shine, and then there's the Candy Glaze. The Love Shine are a beautiful, glossy, hydrating tinted balm formula, and I just love all the shades that they have. These are the ones that I reach for the most. I like the pigmentation. I love the hydrating effect. I think the packaging is gorgeous and luxurious. And then the Candy Glaze, those are the ones for those of you who want that real kind of the glazed donut type of lip look. I think that maybe, I don't know, over time, I think I have started to prefer the Candy Glaze a little bit better. They are a bit thicker on the lips. They're not sticky, but they're thicker. And so for me, they are longer lasting. And I just love that gorgeous, like, succulent high shine that these give me. It's like when I was in middle school and I used to take those like Victoria's Secret ones and just like glaze all over my lips. It's like that, but for grown-ups basically. Nude Pleasure is like my favorite lippy maybe of all time. It is one of my most worn lippies ever. Every time that I wear that Candy Glaze lipstick on like my Instagram or my YouTube, without fail, people are asking me, what is on your lips? So if you want a really good glossy nude, I would check that one out. And then my favorite lip treatment are the ones from Idem, the Les Chouchous exfoliating lip balms. These are tinted, so you know, it kind of looks like a tinted balm, but it is that kind of lip treatment formula. And I like these better than like the Summer Fridays and all the other brands at Sephora pretty much, although those are nice. These are my favorite because they are thicker and more occlusive. They're not gonna give you as much of that glazed look, but if you really want something that's gonna like stick to your lips during the colder weather and the drier months, if you wanna prep your lips, if you want something that you can carry around with you as like a real hydrating lip balm that also lightly exfoliates the lips to prevent that crustiness, then I would check these out. My favorite shades are Fig Sauce and Boba Bounce. Sometimes the shades sell out. They actually came out with new ones that I really want to get. There's a pain au chocolat, and then there's like a croissant one as well. I mean, come on, I need to get those, right? So I'm probably gonna put those in my Sephora sale cart. Comment down below and let me know what is in your Sephora sale cart. I would love to know what are all of your favorites. Please share them with me and the rest of this community. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe, or better yet, go watch another video. In the description box down below, I'm gonna be linking my Best of Beauty playlist so you can watch all of my product guides if you want more recommendations just like this. I'll see you there.